Hello, everyone. Thank you. I am Chris Johnson from Sim Insights and happy here to talk to you all about how you can learn and deliver career exploration ASAP using virtual reality and AI. The speakers we have with us today are myself, who's lead application expert here at Sim Insights, Rajesh Jha, founder and CEO at Sim Insights, as well as Paul Weir from San Juan Capistrano. And taking the place of Sarah Gibson, we have we have Grant Kirby, the leader at OMIC. Sorry. So, quick outline of what is going to be covered today. We're going to go through our company of Sim Insights, talk to you about the value that XR and AI technologies can do for career exploration and with what we found, our product Skillful that enables this value to be gleaned immediately with easy consumption, how we're able to use accelerated content development to meet your needs, whatever they may be, and then have our partners here at OMIC and Paul Weir speak about their experience with our application and how we've helped them with their industries. And then we're going to wrap up and cover what's going on after that, as well as answer any questions you may have throughout the course of the presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat and we will either respond to them in real time or cover them at the end if they won't be covered within our own presentation itself. So with that, outline the company. So we are Sim Insights. We believe that we can co-design the metaverse for skills by utilizing AI-powered technologies and immersive experiences, which is a richer media format than anything else out there, such as video, text, and others that were previously out there, but it's not primarily being used because of a factor of cost. Stepping back a bit, we've been introducing XR technologies to companies since 2017 and are going strong in supporting XR technologies. Okay, Raj?
Thank you, Chris. Let me transition screen sharing. It stopped, okay. So our vision is to enable everyone to capture their knowledge and skills in the form of these AI XR apps, and then use them for training, delivering better outcomes, generate revenue, capture data for research, and so on. And the first step in that direction is to democratize the creation of the content. That has been a big bottleneck. So that's what we have been working on, and we'll be sharing with you today our no-code platform, Hyperskill, and our content collection, Skillful. And our values are all derived from training and learning, equity and access, and being data-driven. So at a high level, the problem that we see is that there are millions of youth and adult workers that don't have access to high-quality training. And why is that? It's because the only known high-quality training is one-on-one expert-led, and we all know that that does not scale. And there are 22 plus million adults and even more youth in healthcare, manufacturing, and higher ed who need high quality training. So as part of the solution, we see virtual reality and AI playing an important role. And what can be done is we can look at all the different jobs and the skills that they require, and we can create training for all those different jobs using AI-powered no-code tools. It's very important that we use AI-powered no-code tools. Otherwise, it doesn't scale. And I'll expand on that as we go forward. And if we do this, the benefits are that we have training that is digital, so it's safer, it's faster, it's cheaper, and hence it's scalable. A quick look at our journey in that in this field. So we started back in 2018 when we did a randomized control trial with over 120 students in Texas. And what we wanted to evaluate was, are students more engaged? Are they learning more when virtual reality is being used? And we saw in the data that that was the case, that the engagement and learning were better than the traditional approach. And the traditional approach in this case was working with actual equipment. So even when you compare virtual reality with working with actual equipment, you could see the tremendous impact. And so we published in a peer-reviewed journal. And then the next challenge we saw was, how are we going to create all of this content? If you have to use a game engine like Unity or Unreal and hire programmers and 3D artists and so on, then each module was going to cost like $50,000, give or take. And that just wasn't going to scale. So based on our previous background and industry experience, we saw that the way to make an impact was to build no-code authoring tools. And so we started working on that with customers in different areas, in higher education, in healthcare, in manufacturing, on procedural skills, soft skills. So we worked with a number of customers for about 5 years. And then in 2023, we launched Hyperskill through our website, and it's been steadily gaining traction since then. Now, today, we have 3 main offerings. First is Hyperskill, which is a no-code platform, as I mentioned. In a nutshell, if you have to create training, you try to create it with game engines like Unity or Unreal, versus with Hyperskill. With Hyperskill, you're going to be done 10 times faster with much less cost. Our second offering is our services, professional services, where we leverage our expertise in all these different areas: AI, VR, AR, simulation development, software development. And our third offering is Skillful, which is a content collection, off-the-shelf content, lots of modules covering different topic areas. Content collection is growing very quickly, 30 to 40 simulations per month. And it's all available on a software as a service licensing basis, which I'll talk about more in a bit. And Skillful is the main focus of our talk today. How can we apply that for career exploration? So that's what I'm going to be spending most of the time in this webinar. So let me start with kind of level setting on the importance of career exploration. So there are a lot of different career pathways, and also there are some major challenges. So skills gap with the aging population, people retiring, rapidly changing jobs landscape because of AI, automation, geopolitical shifts, and the tremendous need to engage youth. So many things can disrupt that, such as pandemic. And always there's constraints around time and money, budgets, and so on. So given the importance of career exploration, what value can XR and AI bring to this field? So we are comparing 3 different ways of delivering career exploration. First is immersive learning. Then there are these labs that you can have at schools with all sorts of equipment and teachers. And then there are field trips. So let's look at how these different ways of delivering career exploration might compare. So we have here, with respect to travel and logistics, obviously being digital, VR, MR will have an advantage, but school labs can also do a good job because you don't have to go anywhere, and field trips are kind of burdensome. Then you have learning with actual equipment, with tools in your hands. So with virtual reality, everything is digital, but with mixed reality, which you can have on Quest 3, you can actually have tools in your hands, and you can have that in school labs as well. Probably this should be a plus, probably. Now, when it comes to learning, we know that repetitions are important. So with one big advantage of virtual reality, mixed reality, digital technologies is that you get a lot of repetitions and you can learn a lot more. Not so with the other options. And then for safety risks, that's another plus for immersive learning. It's digital, versus in other cases, you have to have somebody watch the students and keep them safe. And probably the biggest advantage is in cost. being digital, it's very scalable. So lots of advantages for the immersive learning approach. And we see that as having the potential to really impact equity and access, increase safety while cutting cost. So let's dive right into it and look at some applications. So these are some videos where I'll talk to each of them. These are all part of Skillful, built using Hyperskill, and these are mixed reality. So some of you may be new to virtual and mixed reality, so let me point out a couple of things. So what you see in these videos is that there's some virtual content, such as this patient bed and the patient, that is overlaid on top of the real world. So these are all videos shot in our office here in Irvine. And you can see that the graphics are very realistic, where it almost looks like the bed and that table is a virtual table. It looks almost like it's a real table. This is the strength of mixed reality, where you don't get removed from the real world. You're still in the real world, but you have all of your equipment that you need for training. You can also have AI agents there with you. For example, in this video, we are showing a mock interview. So this is a virtual person, who is giving the player some experience in how to handle these tricky interview questions. Over here, we have anatomy type of scenario. And notice that there are two people. They're both seeing the same thing. They're interacting, turning on and off the different anatomy layers. So it's multiplayer. Every simulation in Hyperskill and Skillful can be single player or multiplayer, and that gives educators a lot of options for how they want to design the curriculum. You can look through 3D models. You can engage in hands-on practice. So here's a chest compression type scenario where you see Chris wearing a headset, and I'm the one who is recording the video. So we are in a multiplayer session. We both see the same thing, and Chris is being guided to actually apply the chest compressions. So these are some examples of career exploration with mixed reality. Now let's look at some examples for career exploration with virtual reality. So here are a few examples. Now notice that every pixel you see here is virtual. So there is no real world that you can see. You are completely immersed. And it has the advantage that you can feel like you are in the actual facility. So in the first one, it's just like you're standing in front of this big robot without the safety risk, without the need to travel and so on. This is a clip from a forensic investigation crime scene type simulation, where you are on the crime scene, you're being guided. How do you collect evidence and while following all the protocols? This third one is a fire science simulation. So within just a minute, I'm able to pick up a fire extinguisher and learn the correct way to operate it and put out a fire. In this bottom left video, we are showing a CNC Haas mini mill. So you feel like you are in a workshop with all these different tools. You have this expensive, powerful machine and that cuts metal, and you're being guided step by step by an AI agent. You have this control panel where everything works like the real thing, so you can gain the skills and apply it. And this next one is also a different forensic simulation. And last but not least is an agricultural simulation where you are in a greenhouse. If I go to the next slide, we have some more examples of virtual reality. And here it's more on the emphasis. We have curated these clips to emphasize the use of tools. So you can see in the top left, the focus is on painting, applying paint to a car door. Here you have a grinding kind of application. This is a oil change application. Another a saw type of application here in the middle. And in the bottom right, it's a simulation of a firing range. So no need to waste ammunition and you can get some practice that way. And in this bottom left one, there's a piece of metal that is being cut. So the big benefit of training this way is that you're not wasting resources on consumables. You know, also safety risks is a big factor, saving time and money. Another capability that I want to highlight is AI. So for about 4 or 5 years now, we have been adding AI agents into our simulations because we always thought that once you are in virtual reality, you know, we don't want you to feel like you're alone. There's nobody there to guide you. And as we all know, AI technology has exponentially developed in the last few years, and we have been on the cutting edge of integrating those into our simulations. So let me point out what we are showing here in these videos. So in this first video, which is work that we did in collaboration with Grant Kirby. He's here and he'll be speaking later today. What we are showing is this is a digital twin of his facility. So in the digital twin, just like in the real building, there's a lobby. So this lobby looks just like the lobby in his facility. Let me unmute the microphone.
I'll get the power on the machine set up.
Oh, that's going to cause echo here. So basically, I'll just describe it. So as a learner, you start in the lobby where you have an AI agent that talks to you, and it's amazingly powerful because it's powered by GPT-4, and it gets to know you, your interests, and based on that, it's going to recommend to you one of many simulations. So here it has teleported me into another simulation where I'm going to learn about the Haas mini mill. I'm going to go ahead and complete all of these activities, and then I'll come back to the lobby, and there the AI actually knows what all the things I did in that simulation, so it can have a conversation with me. It knows how well I did, and then it can, if I ask it for a recommendation, it'll recommend a different simulation. So that's one application. In this next one, we are looking at a mock interview for cybersecurity. So that virtual person on the other side is conducting the interview. And in this recording, Chris is answering the questions. And, you know, it's not fully scripted. So we just say something at a high level to the AI that, hey, your job is to give mock interview practice to the learners. And the AI is able to take it from there and have a very engaging conversation. At the end of the conversation, it also gives a score to Chris and spells out areas where he could have done better. So that's an example of a mock interview in virtual reality. This one we briefly looked at earlier. This is the same kind of interview, except it's in mixed reality in our office. So you can see the real world behind this virtual person. Some people prefer mixed reality over virtual reality. They are more comfortable in it. With our software, with our product, you don't have to necessarily pick. You can be in either. So we support both of them. And this final example here is the most recent one. What we wanted to show here is that the AI knows the precise locations of all of the objects in that environment. So it knows what all those samples are. It knows about the tolerance test. And it even knows that a particular beaker, you know, is the third one from the edge of the table. And it's really amazing how impactful that can be, because it can highlight the right object that you need to complete your next step. It knows the state of the simulation. You don't have to spell out everything. So if it says grab the spatula and the user says, where is it? It knows that you're talking about the spatula. You don't have to necessarily say the exact name of the object. So what all this means for career exploration is that every student can have a personalized coach inside of the virtual environment, the coach that not only knows all the other stuff that large language models know, but knows exactly everything that is in the environment. And that's a unique aspect that we are bringing to immersive learning. All of these simulations almost all of them also work in the web and on the desktop. So that's what we are showing here. These videos were captured on the desktop. Even Chromebooks can run almost all of these simulations, and that's important for equity and access. Here we are seeing the same simulation, the tolerance test chemistry simulation running on mixed reality on the left and desktop and virtual reality on the right. So the exact same simulation is working across different platforms. So today in Skillful, there are over 200 simulations, and they are a mix of mixed reality and virtual reality. Many different career pathways are covered, and we are adding 20, 30, sometimes 40 simulations every month. And we are requesting input from our customers and partners on which simulations they would like to see us include. Also, recently, what we have done is made the Skillful catalog available on our web portal. So here at the bottom, there's a URL. So if you go there, you can access the entire catalog of 200 simulations. For each of those simulations, we are pointing out which career pathway it is related to, and also which platform it's supported on. So in most cases, like I mentioned, all the platforms are supported, but sometimes there will be something unique about that interaction that will make it a little more suitable for, say, virtual reality, but make it harder to do on web. In that case, we will separate out that simulation and have two versions for them. But otherwise, the same version works on all of these different platforms. We often get the question, how do we access Skillful? So here's a little video to show that. So on desktop, when you launch Hyperskill, you see this catalog. So on the left side, you have all these different career pathways or categories. And you see, as we click through these different categories, you see all the simulations within that category that are available. And there's a lot of them, and we are constantly adding. So on the left is the desktop, and on the right, you see what it looks like in VR. So let me pause this video. So in VR, when you launch Hyperskill, and Hyperskill is available in the Quest App Store, so you can download it from there and launch it. And you will see again the same tab structure for all the different categories, and you can see all the same simulations. There are a number of simulations that are free inside Skillful, and the other ones are paid, and I'll talk about pricing in just a second. So from here, you can launch the simulation, go into it, and then come back to this lobby area or the hub, and then launch a different simulation. So we often get the question that how are you guys able to create content so fast? And the answer is that Skillful is powered by Hyperskill. So Hyperskill is our low-code platform that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. Here's a high-level view of how Hyperskill works. So it works by first ingesting 3D models, PDF, documents, videos, images, those kinds of media. After that, there's a flowchart type interface that creators, authors can use to drag and drop and create a scenario. And we have YouTube videos on our channel that train people on how to use Hyperskill. There's also a free version of Hyperskill that anybody can download. So you can download that and then use the tutorials, and you can start creating your own simulations. We also frequently do webinars like this. So there's a 1.5 hour class, and by the end of the class, everyone has created their first immersive interactive intelligence simulation. It does not require any coding experience. Once you've created the simulation, you can publish it. You basically get a link, send it to a friend, or there's a couple other ways of sharing the simulations with your audience, and then people can use those simulations. Again, they can be multiplayer if you wish. When people go through it, all the data gets collected. Everything is timestamped, where people are clicking and what are they saying. If it's a conversational AI simulation, all of that data is gathered and is made available back to the author. So that the author can use that to see how their simulation is being used. These are the 5 key differentiators of Hyperscale. It's AI powered, no code, has a reusable asset library built in. We have about 1,000 assets. These are virtual objects like a table, the tools that you saw, like the paint gun, the saw, a forklift, even aircraft that you can fly. All sorts of objects are there. Then there are virtual humans of different demographics, different animations, as well as virtual spaces. So the warehouse spaces, lab spaces, entire campuses, they're all there. And we are constantly adding to the library. So the library is growing. Also, the whole library is accessible without, it's accessible as part of the free version of Hyperscale. So I can send you a link if you like to see it. Another big strength is this cross-platform. I've already talked about how it works on mixed reality, virtual reality, and desktop. And that takes a lot of effort for us to support, but we really think that it's important. And the last one is multiplayer, because there are different types of pedagogies and instructional designs where single versus multiplayer group work are important. And so we support that. And we have been able to train non-technical people, non-programmer type people to use Hyperscale. So here's a quote from a healthcare professional about her experience working with Hyperscale. So I mentioned cross-platform. We are constantly adding support. Recently, we've been working on adding support for Apple Vision Pro. It'll be released in a few weeks. Very excited about that device. We have also gone out and obtained certifications, SOC 2, HIPAA, GDPR, and we have started work on FedRAMP. We've done a number of integrations, many of them driven by our enterprise customers, but a couple of them I'd like to point out for education. We just completed a integration, SSO integration with Clever, and we are going to be working on the Secure Sync rostering integration over the summer as well. Hyperscale started out with a big focus on the enterprise, and that is still our big focus. So we have worked with a lot of different customers in the enterprise, in healthcare, in manufacturing, in semiconductor, in automotive, advanced manufacturing. And that has given us a deeper appreciation of the importance of career exploration. So the things that we learned from working with these enterprise clients, we are bringing those into Skillful so they can be used in classrooms, in middle school, high schools, and community colleges. So one important point I want to make is that, as I mentioned earlier, we started in 2018, and first thing we did is show that immersive learning actually works in a rigorous randomized controlled trial study in Texas. And then we tackled the problem of making it easier to create the content. And over the last 6 years, we have kept track of how, with every feature that we add and with every new version of Hyperscale, how much efficiency are we adding? And we are estimating that we have dropped the content creation effort by a factor of 1,000. And this is kind of a chart for that, for a typical simulation. It used to take about 6 months of effort, and now it takes a couple of hours. And as we have done that, starting about a year and a half ago, working with Dr. Paul Weir, we have started to apply these efficiency gains to building a big content collection. So on the right side, you see a graph showing how our content collection has been growing. And today we are here. We are right at around 200. And so that refers to the number of simulations that are available in the Skillful catalog. And as we project it out, we can see a path to hitting 1,000 modules. And we are very excited about this goal, because if we sell a very, very affordably priced product, which has 1,000 simulations, any school can have that. Every school can have that. And And so we are really excited that the journey that we took to bring down the effort of content creation has now made Skillful possible. Our latest step in that direction of making content creation more efficient is AI-powered content generation. So now we are all familiar with ChatGPT. It gives us amazing text. We also know about the image generators that can generate any kind of images or logos that we want. And then there are recently also video creation tools like Sora from OpenAI and others. But there are still no tools for 3D simulation creation. There are some experimental techniques that can generate a game, but I haven't seen anything for training content creation. And so we worked on that, and building on top of Hyperskill, it was quite fast for us to build a new utility that we call SimGenie. It's kind of a variation of GenAI. So it's available on our website, and the way this works is you have different categories of simulations, and once you select a category, you're able to then specify just a few options, and it'll generate a whole sim. So here's a look at that. So at the time of recording of this video, we only had one category. That was the first one. And this one is about a conversation that you can have with an AI. So I'll just talk over this video. So you enter the name of your simulation, you choose, this is targeted at middle and high school. So you choose the subject. It can be history or math or geography or any other topic, science. And you pick a grade level. Then you pick one of these virtual humans of your choice. You also pick a environment. So it can be a classroom or some other environment. And we'll be adding more and more environments here. You can select the voice for the avatar and also select something about their personalities. So excited, serious, fun. And there's also a field where you can add some more information that'll get packaged into the prompt that goes out to the AI. And after you fill out these few options, you can click on the Create Simulation button. And it just takes a second, and it generates a simulation, and it puts it in your account in Hyperskill. So this is what Hyperskill, when you log in, you go to this page. These are all the simulations that this user has created, and at the top of that list is the simulation that the AI just generated. And now that simulation is being launched for experience in single player mode. So it's loading. And there it is. So based on the options, this is the character, that's the environment, and it's ready to have a conversation. And it's going to follow the settings of the voice and the topic and the fun or excited or serious choices that the user made. Now, what's really nice is that this is not a black box simulation. So all of the editing tools in Hyperskill are available. So if I wanted to take this and add some chairs in the background or do more work on top of this, I can do that. So that's something that gives a lot of control to the creators. Just the last few slides before I turn it over to our partners here. The education, so Hyperskill has a free version, as I mentioned, and also has an enterprise version. But for today's audience, what makes the most sense is the education tier. So the education tier of Hyperskill includes both Hyperskill as well as Skillful. And we have a site license that is good for a school or an entire campus. And that's $179 per month or $1788 per year. We also have a classroom version just to make it easier for an enthusiastic teacher to be able to purchase it without having to worry about a bigger purchase. So it's just $12.99 per month or $149 for the whole year. And then we've also released a version of this for the homeschool market. So it's just $30 for the whole year. And all that information is available on our website on the pricing page. So just to recap, so our goal with Skillful is to have simulations, immersive experiential simulations for all of these different career pathways over time. So by the time we hit 500 or 1,000 simulations, we should have really good coverage. In addition to the content and the software, we also offering teacher professional development. There's a lot of teachers who need to learn about how to use VR in different settings. And so we are happy to partner with schools to provide that. And we are also offering expanded learning opportunities. So things like after school VR, AR, and AI programs for students, where our expert can come to the student, come to the school, maybe set up things in the gym or some other appropriate space, bring headsets and have a presentation, have some activities, have some experiences that they can go through. So please reach out if you're interested in any of those things. So now back to our agenda slide here. So we're excited to have two partners here to share their experience with us. First, let me turn it over to Grant Kirby from OMIC in Oregon.
Thanks, Chris. I don't know if you'll be able to see my slides. If not, I'll just talk to them. And
I have the slides, Grant. I can share it.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I'm Grant Kirby, and I'm in the workforce development here at OMIC R&D. And oh, here we go. I'll slide you forward if you'd like. You can just go on to the next one. So OMIC R&D is a research facility for advanced manufacturing in Oregon. We're a little bit north of Portland. And we work with partner companies, nonprofit, and we work with partner companies to help them figure out how to do more advanced manufacturing ideas. Next slide. So I should say we are formally a workforce arm of OMIC R&D. They've decided to go a different way, so our program is not going to be going forward. But let me tell you what we did here. What we wanted to do is create some kind of a workforce development that filled in some of the gaps between what academia is able to do and industry is able to do and government agencies. And what we realized, a couple of things we realized. One is, in order to reach all the underserved populations that are falling through the cracks, we needed to have digital content delivery that was available to anybody, anywhere, at any time. And we also needed to have kind of a persistent workforce development effort to help people find where their passion is, where their interest is, and give them the tools to pursue that. I spent a lot of years in academia as a professor, and I realized that a lot of people get to college, they really don't have a clue about what they're interested in. Their parents told them they should go take something in IT or mechanical engineering, and that's what they're doing. And they may not find out until halfway through their college that that's really not what they're interested in at all. So what we wanted to do is to give people a chance to look around, see what really is passionate for them, and give them the tools to go explore those careers. So we wanted to be able to capture the need, do a design very, very quickly, and provide delivery tools that we could do a kind of a mass customization. And by that, I mean that we want to be able to have a granular enough tool so that somebody in a CTE class could say, I need some help. I don't have the expertise. I need some expertise to help me in delivering my class material. Our CTE instructors have like 10 or 15 different topics. They may be pretty good in one of them, but the rest of them, they're not. So they needed alongside avatars to kind of help them in teaching their students and also for their own career development. So when we say mass customization, what we're talking about here is the ability to get good content out to a lot of people, but also to be able to customize it. As you've probably figured out already, to pay a company to customize a learning tool can be very expensive, $30,000, $40,000 for one kind of a course. And so That's not really very sustainable. So what we really wanted to do was figure out how to make this not only scalable, but also get the cost out of it. And the reason we partner with Hyperskill is because Raj and company there have the attitude that they really want to do the right thing in terms of content development. So they're working on the right kinds of things. Hyperskill was a great platform for us to get our feet wet, to learn what the questions are. Let me just say out loud in the congregation here, if you think that you're going to just take your classroom setting and flop it into VR or AR or any of the XRs, it just doesn't work that way. These digital delivery platforms are unique, and you have to rethink what it is you're trying to do, because you need to give the students much more agency in their learning experience than they have in the classroom. I get that. I taught for years in college, and you have a class plan and everybody's got to follow the plan. Well, that day is come and gone. And what we really need is individualizing a classroom setting where the faculty member is more of a mentor rather than a sage on the stage kind of approach. Of course, that'll make everybody crazy, I suppose, but that's just the way it is. And so we need tools like Hyperskill to help us quickly model new concepts and to test them out. The other thing that's really a problem in workforce development is we get people creating curriculum, and that curriculum is sort of backwards looking. It's about what they've known in the past, and they create a curriculum and they extend that to the future. In no way do our colleges and our community colleges and our four-year schools keep up with the fast pace of development in industry. Can't do it. So in a digital format, we can start approaching these ways where we can get closer to that curve of keeping up with industry. The other thing is that we did that was very different is that our focus isn't on jobs. It seems like all the workforce development stuff that I see is focused on jobs and sort of getting people into the jobs. That seems really wrong-headed to me anyway. When I talk to employers, they have to move so much dirt to find a little gold. And by that, I mean, they have to hire 10 people to get one that's a right fit. Well, it'd be a lot better if we got the right fit early on and saved all that thrash. And so we want to develop a personal learning system that allows an individual to proceed at the rate in which they're capable of proceeding. Look ahead, do a little AI predictive analytics about where they could go, and let them accelerate or spend as much time as they need, but to have the system learn them. The nice thing about the avatars and the LLMs that we have access to and the chat GPTs is that we're at the beginning of a place where we can actually have a mentor, an avatar, a digital mentor that can have a conversation with a student and learn from that student and direct their learning without all this hands-on kind of stuff. That seems pretty crazy, but it's here. It's already happening. And so SimInsights group have been working diligently to figure out how to incorporate these different AI tools. AI will change everything we know about everything. And certainly in terms of workforce development and training. The other piece of this in terms of career exploration is, let me kind of go back to the notion that we approach this from the learner point of view. In other words, if you start with the learner, find out where their passion is, and then give them the tools to chase that passion, rather than starting with the job and trying to fit as many people as we can and get the little checkbox and say, we're done. We've done our workforce development. That's not working. It hasn't worked for a long time, and it's certainly not working now. If every student in every degree program in every school in the country graduated and took a job in advanced manufacturing, we would still not have enough workers. So that's 60% of those people who never will go to college ever. We need to find a way to bring them into the workforce and to give them the ability to have some self-confidence and learn things that are exciting. We can't do that in the classroom. It doesn't scale. We have to do it digitally. And so, from your organization, I'll just say it's going to take you some time to learn how to use these digital tools. Um, while the guys at Sim Insights are all crazy, I'm pretty sure they're a very helpful bunch, and they will help you in that path and let you spin up. It's going to take you a minute to develop an understanding of how these digital classrooms, how the digital training, how this digital information can service your organization. So you've got to start a little bit early. I would say that Hyperskill, we chose Hyperskill because it was the best, easiest path forward for us to begin developing those skills in-house. So next slide, please. So initially, we focused on VR because it was accessible and we could do that. The fact of the matter is, the digital training and workforce development in the future is not going to be just VR. Is still pretty clunky, kind of big headsets. Not everybody has one, that story, of course. So really what we need to think about is, what are all of the digital tools in our digital tool bag, whether it's AR, or VR, or other forms of XR, combinations of 2D on the screen and various kinds of things. We need to rethink what it is we're developing and find the venues to do that. What's kind of cool about Hyperskill and the focus that our friends there at Sim Insights has is that they're creating a platform that allows you to have whatever kind of delivery mechanism you need pretty easily. And if you learn their tool, which is kind of a no-code kind of a approach, pretty easy to learn if you have some people that spend a little bit of time with it. Start simple. We have simple problems, and we just keep adding those towards a particular context. This allows us to create user agency that's pretty uncommon. It's not uncommon in video games. I mean, the reason that, we think in academia that these kids don't have much of an attention span. Well, that's kind of crap, really. They'll spend a whole weekend playing a video game because it allows them to interact with the material and to be creative and try some things and have some creative failures and do those kind of things. So pretty big deal, really. So let's see. I guess I'll just go down here and all right. So I'm on the approach slide. If you can go up a slide or two for me there really quick. There you go, right there. Down one. Thank you. Let's see. I'm sorry. Yeah, the approach slide. Forgive me. So the way we approached our digital content was through, let's see, content approach. We're going to get there. Innovation and workforce development. That's the slide I want. If you could find that for me, that'd be great. There you go. So our approach to all content was a problem-solving, competency-based development, not an objective testing environment. That's what we do in the classroom. That doesn't work very well, by the way. So this giving students problems that they care about solving and within a particular context that they're interested in, we can start learning how to measure problem-solving skills and competency-based development. What we found in industry, they're more interested in a person's ability to problem solve than they are about specific pieces of information, because everything they learn in school is going to be obsolete by the time they get in the workforce anyway. So it's that problem solving thing that they need. And what we're able to do in our Hyperskill tools is to measure affective learning elements that we know are really critical, like problem solving, intrinsic motivation, all of those internal things that really make learning amazing for the learner, but it's very hard to do as a teacher to put that in there. So we're finding ways to digitally measure those things. So as the students go through the material, we can go back and look at what they did and learn a lot, not only to improve our material, but also to give them a chance to really accelerate their learning process. So Next slide, please. I think I'm running out of time here. So, well, let's see. What do I want to say about this? I think I've already said all this. Well, except for maybe a couple of things. One of the things about AI that's really important is the generative aspect of AI. So we need AI that can learn the learner and create new avenues and new pathways on the fly, where we don't have to think about every possible scenario, which is how we do training now. If they say this, then we'll do that. That's hierarchical thing. The AI stuff is freaking amazing. And it'll allow us to not only have a generative AI that can track their questions, but also it can create an environment where we have generative learning, where the learner can actually solve novel problems they've never seen before based upon their input and their intuition and all of the stuff that we provided. That generative learning sticks in their long-term memory many times better than it does just by trying to do rote memory. All of the assets that we make, and Chris or Raj brought this up. This you can see this little Haas controller that we have here sticking up here on the side that showed the machines that we worked on. By the way, I can say this: the modules that we created were in direct support of a classroom. We were able to buy these machines for high schools and then create this training content for the instructor, so that we had a safety, we had how to start up the machine, how to do a simple task. All of those were in support of a very specific instructor and very specific machines. And these assets are now in the asset bank. So anytime we want to use this Haas controller, it's there. We don't have to recreate it, which is very powerful. So Hyperskill has a growing asset toolbox for you to use. So you don't have to create those things. A lot of those things are already there for you. Pretty cool, huh? So,
and Grant, sorry to interrupt you. We have one more partner after you.
Okay, so I'm out of time. All right, that seems right. Okay, so well, good. I think we're on the last slide. So I've preached my sermon. I guess I'll be done.
And thank you so much for making these modules available for free in Hyperskill, in Skillful. Okay.
Yep.
And with that, thank you so much, Grant. And let me welcome Dr. Paul Weir to share his experience with us.
Hi, everybody. I know we're getting a little short on time, so I'll be super brief with my comments. When I met the Sim Insights team, I had a very specific need that I was looking for a solution. And that need is, I have career centers at all of the high schools that I serve. And I was looking for a way to get in front of more students to make them aware of the different courses that we had at their site that they could take, or through our regional programs. And my guidance specialists can only go into so many classrooms, can only do so many presentations in the school without disrupting, the normal school flow. So what other tools are out there that I could use to accomplish this goal? So what Raj and the team were able to work with us on was developing, I think, their first set of these real quick simulation modules from a marketing lens. So what I wound up having was a VR presence in each one of my career centers on campus that are available to kids at any time they have a break, tutorial time, lunchtime, before and after school, all of those different free times that they have. And my staff are able to market to the school at large that, hey, we're having a VR event, come by. And kids are able to step into these 1 to 2 minute simulations and try out, some different activities that are part of the fire science curriculum or the forensic science curriculum, things like that, so that it generates the opportunity for my guidance specialists to have conversations with kids about increasing enrollment, to maybe taking a class after school at the career center. It just another tool in the quiver, right, so to speak. So that's the journey that we started on. As you saw earlier in slides, there are so many simulations now. And to go along with it, you've heard this probably 3 or 4 times, is the speed at which the team can turn a simulation for you. So they were turning 5 or 6 a week when we first started, which just absolutely blew me away. Only company that I talked to that had that capability and or that willingness, maybe the better way to say it, to work with their partners and custom design things that helped our need. So that's where we started. And then through delivering these to kids and having kids go through these simulations, what we started hearing pretty much across the board from them was, are we going to see this in our classes? You know, can we get this into, you know, forensic science was the last student that I talked to a couple of weeks back. And the statements were around, this kind of surprised me actually a little bit. It wasn't just the cool factor of it all, and it was neat and unique and new and all that. This student's statements were around, I could get more reps in on some of the equipment that we have in class because we only have 2 enclaves. So, or excuse me, not enclaves, autoclaves in class. So we can only use it so much because we have to take turns because we have, you know, 36 kids in the class. He goes, if I could do this virtually, I could get so many more reps in and get better at doing what I'm trying to do, which I thought was a great perspective for a student to put forth because it's exactly what we were thinking as well. So now we're starting to look at where we can insert some VR into our classrooms to augment the student experience, you know, around reps. I know Raj mentioned it earlier, around supplies and materials. You know, in an auto class, you can change oil filters all day long and you're just burning oil filters, right? But if you do it virtually, you can save literally several $100s a class each week just on consumables. So those are the targeted areas that we're exploring now to expand our VR presence within the classrooms for us. So really the 2 biggest things for me that I wanted to stress was just the speed and the customization, the willingness. You know, anytime we call and talk to the team about a new simulation or tweaking a simulation to make it a little bit different, a little bit better for our kids, it's always met with no problem. We'll have that done in a couple of days, which is in my experience unheard of when dealing with you know, a company that's doing educational programming. Just never have had somebody that can turn stuff that fast and have the willingness and want to actually do that. So happy to have further conversations. If anybody wants to reach out, you know, happy to talk more deeply about what it is that we're doing. If it sounds similar or can help you in any way, just please let me know.
Thank you so much, Paul, for being here and sharing your experience. And with that, we have covered all of the content. Happy to take any questions if anyone has right now. But you're also welcome to reach back to us with any questions through our website or email. And we would love to speak with you. So once again, thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you so much, Paul and Grant for joining us and sharing your experiences. We'll follow up with you if we get any other questions for you through our email. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, everyone.